This is the ASRock Phantom Gamin RX 6500 XT that retails at RM 1239. As you can see, it comes with dual fan cooling. It has a nice backplate. On top here, you can see that this is a card that does not come with RGB. Overall, the Phantom Gaming model here is a very competent unit that allows the RX 6500 XT to perform. However, how does it perform? Let's dive into the details. Running on maximum settings, I'm surprised that quite a number of titles seems to be okay with it. However, at maximum settings, just assume that it's unplayable. After all, this is the average frame rate. So when the frame rate dips, it will hurt your experience. Dumbing down your settings to medium, then you will see that the frame rate is a lot better, mostly high above 60 frames per second, and even with a dip, you should be having reasonable gaming experience. As for the power draw, it operates at 85 watts, and even with a fan at the lowest RPM, it's able to keep the GPU below 70 degrees Celsius, and I saw it peak at 67 degrees Celsius when I run Unigen superposition at 1080p at maximum. I do wish that the AMD RX 6500 XT is better. I mean, AMD really gymped the card without any good reason. At least this is what I feel about it. I feel that AMD is trying to reduce the performance of this RX 6500 XT so that it does not eat into the market of the RX 6600. However, a lot of things removed are totally unnecessary. For example, one HDMI and one DisplayPort. I think it's good to have 3 HDMI for people who want to output to multiple monitors. And then how about having the encoding and decoding features intact so people can use it for those purposes? And then 4 gigs of VRAM in 2022. Who are we kidding? There should be at least 6 gigs, and even with 6 gigs, when you run a video editing software and run some filters, it might even still run into some hitch. So yeah, bad decision making, AMD. As for the PCI-E Gen3 limitation, I find that it's not as bad as what people think. Even on AAA titles, the 10% drop is really not an issue, especially if the frame rate is already above 60 frames per second for medium settings. However, if you want to go higher frame rate for 120Hz and above, there are always games like CSGO, Valorant, League of Legends, Dota 2, that kind of stuff that could get the frame rates above 120 frames per second. What's most disappointing to me is that despite its performance level and the lack of features, one still has to connect the PCIe power connector to use it. So rather than ending my evaluation of the card here, I decided to take it a step further by fine-tuning the card to what I like. And that's what I did. I managed to lower the power draw, lower the operating temperature, and still maintain most of the performance, of which that is why I feel that the 6500 XT should be and could be priced lower. To sum it up, if AMD is going to gym this card so badly, they might as well just do it even more so that it runs at a lower power draw, that it does not require an additional connector, and it can still retain that similar performance level. Now let's look at the value proposition. The RX 6600 GPU-based graphics card provides very good value for money. For ease of calculation, I'm going to go with RM 2200 for the RX 6600 and RM 1200 for the RX 6500 XT, making the RX 65 XT coming to almost 55% the price of the RX 6600. After averaging out the frame rate and factoring the price to have RM per frame, what we see here is it's RM 22 per frame for the RX 6600, while for the 6500 XT, it is at RM 33 per frame, which is 50% more. Well, that pretty much sums up the AMD RX 6500 XT GPU. When compared to AMD's product stack, this offering seems a little bit, falling short. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean you should be avoiding this this GPU at all, because at that price point, you don't have much of a choice. After all, it still delivers reasonable performance as long as you're fine with, let's say, medium settings and 60-ish frames per second at Full HD, or you're playing games like Dota 2, CSGO, League of Legends, Valorant, and those kind of other titles that are not GPU intensive. Well, that's my findings for the AMD Radeon RX 6500 XT. It is actually a capable GPU. However, AMD's pricing, I think they can improve on it. And if they do, this card could be acquired at even better price, which is a good card. As you can see, I've managed to tune it to run at lower power draw, which resulted in lower temperature, with which you can run at the lower fan RPM and maintain still most of the performance. In fact, speaking of fan RPM, you can run at stock settings at the lowest fan RPM available in AMD's software and still run it at below 70 degrees Celsius, which is very good. That's all from me for this one. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the video useful and informative. If you like more of this kind of content, do check out the videos at the side and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.